We were walking to my house. We were me and my classmate Melanie. We walked for a long time, a very long time. Climbing up the mountains, our legs were shaking. There were a lot of mountains in Germany, and when we had a lot of homework in our backpacks, sadistically stuffed by teachers, it was the limit, to be honest. But Melanie and I tried to walk quickly, cautiously looking around. The thing is, there's a crazy woman in our neighborhood who's been kidnapping and killing children. Rumor has it that she went insane when her children and husband were killed in a car accident. Another hypothesis is that she was barren and poor, and after killing her husband, she took revenge on people by taking revenge on their children. Missing school kids weren't rare, but they weren't so common as to be worth panicking about. And there's no telling what this woman alone had to do with the missing kids. A lot of them ran away from home or something. I didn't go into details. When we were already halfway to my house, I squinted curiously at the long-burned house in the fire. I stopped, of course, and stared. For I knew that psychopath likes to hide and live in long dead houses that people avoided. My friend walked on, but she noticed that I had stopped and walked back. She stared at me in surprise and then began to look at the house too. I shook my head and we walked on, chatting about nothing. But then after 2 minutes of walking, I saw this unfortunate crazy woman. She was all in white, smiling with broken lips and saying very strange things. When I kill you, you will be a part of me, and your soul will go to the Lord God, and happy will you be. I was afraid, for few people have ever escaped from this sick woman. And suddenly, she grabbed us. Melanie screamed and struggled, and I began to punch and bite her. Then I had the good sense to scratch her face and carefully get to her eyes. I'm trying to write this in a fun way now, but back then I was ready to fall through the ground. The woman grabbed her dirty and ugly face with her skinny hands and started screaming and hissing, but she let us out. We ran like hell. 15 minutes later, we reached my house, and interrupting each other, we told my mom and the police where it was, and of course what had happened to us. The next day, the authorities called and told us that they hadn't found a psychopath, but they had found a white dress that was splattered with blood. I was saddened and wondered. But that same night, the creepiest thing happened. As I was combing my hair, I noticed this very woman standing behind me. Half transparent, with black holes instead of eyes and a cruel smirk. I held my breath and quickly turned around. I was alone in the bathroom, but it was a shock. It had all been a month ago. I'm 12 years old, my friend is 11. Kids are still missing, but less often. There's nothing in the papers or on the news about it. The police are still looking for her. I think she's a ghost avenging the children for her death and infertility. She's just a spirit, an evil spirit. And when I grow up, I'll be looking for her. For I want to live free. I've been taking the bus to school and home ever since. I don't know if my luck has run out. By midnight, I'm finally able to sleep. I appear in front of the entrance to my school. It's pretty dark and snowing outside, the dim light of a skylight illuminating the stairs. Walking up, I pass through 2 doors. Instead of concrete pillars, in the shape of a square prism, I see rusted grates that are apparently the framework. What I see inside the bars sows the first seed of fear in me, a light brown body, nailed at the arms and legs to the bars, and writhing in horrible agony, making no sounds. Mouth and eyes sewn shut with thick black thread. My heartbeat quickened. I trying to keep my cool, step around this pillar and walk down the hallway. In some parts of the floor are grates of the same type instead of concrete. To my left across the hallway is a closet. I walk up to where the janitor is supposed to sit. There's a corpse sitting on the chair, pinned to the desk with 3 big nails. I was stunned with fear and, barely pulling myself together, went further up the stairs to the second floor. I come to the place where they hang the schedule, but there is only one bloody piece of paper hanging on a nail, on which something is written in a crooked font. I tear the paper off the nail and, going to the window to get a better look, I see the following inscription: "Beware of the living." I try to find where the units end, but apparently they are infinite. About 3 seconds later, I hear this horrible sound. A siren. With each fading sound of the siren, it got darker and darker. After 5 of these sounds, it's pitch black. I can't even distinguish my hands in this darkness. I look around and see a flashlight on the floor. I carefully walk over to it and pick it up. I illuminate the space around me and succumb to fear again. Now everything is made entirely of rusted iron bars. In places, there are still pieces of concrete that have fallen off. As soon as I turned around, something emerged from the corridor. A humanoid monster with a sewn mouth and long tentacles on its back. It looked at me with frantic, out-of-orbit eyes and quickly headed in my direction. I miraculously dodged it and ran to the corridor where it had come from, because there should have been a fire exit. But there wasn't. Instead, I saw a concrete wall. I turned around. The monster grabbed my head and blocked my view with his palm. The flashlight fell out of my hands. I physically feel the unbearable pain and the crunching of my spine as the monster rips my head off. I wake up on a hospital cot at school in a doctor's office. There's light from the chandelier so I can see the surroundings. It's the same rusty bars. I stand up, walk to the door, and step on something that makes a crunching sound. It turns out to be some kind of worms. I open the door and see that the monster is standing in the same place and turning towards me. I quickly run to the flashlight, but I trip over something and it notices me. I fall on my face and, judging by the pain, I broke my nose. Immediately I roll over onto my back and try to defend myself with my hands. 3 tentacles come out of the monster's right arm and rip out my left arm. I felt horrible and unbearable pain. My scream echoed throughout the school, even though there were rusty bars instead of concrete walls. It was eating my arm and I decided to seize the moment. Through the pain, I pick up the flashlight with my right hand and stagger to my feet. I hold the flashlight with my teeth in front of me and run back down the hallway. Tears of pain obscure my already useless vision, but I run to the 4th floor. It turns out to be surprisingly fast and catches up with me. I get closer and closer to the window, trying to defend myself somehow. Then it pushes me through the window with force, and I fall to the asphalt. As soon as my back touched the asphalt, I found myself in my bed, already in the early morning. But I feel that something is wrong. I look at the chair and see myself. My doppelganger turns to me. My heart was even more horrified. Instead of eyes, he had gaping black hollows and a kitchen knife in his hand. He quickly jumped up and, repeatedly repeating the phrase, "Beware of the living," in an afterlife voice, stabbed me repeatedly on all parts of my body. I finally woke up for real.